guys, welcome to the commentary show here at Hyper RPG. It's our commentary track, guys, where we watch a movie with a couple of guests, and you watch it along with us. We got a countdown timer that's going to be going along with this movie. And guys, we're doing a favorite of many of ours here today. We're doing Evil Dead 2. Sam Raimi, Bruce Campbell returning as Ash. So exciting. I'm Cameron Rice, joined by Adam Lavick.
Hello.
Some of the regulars. Whit and Elizabeth couldn't make it today because, guys, they're working actors and they got auditions tomorrow. I don't. I'm here to watch Evil Dead 2. I'm here to watch Evil Dead 2 and go, I'll make a movie someday.
Hey man, if Evil Dead has taught us anything, that's really where Evil Dead all began. Right? It was like a couple of guys being like, you know what, we want to make a movie. We want to make our friend Bruce Campbell a big action star.
Just give him hell. Give him hell constantly. And guys, if you are watching this and you're subscribed, you must know the person sitting to my left. This is Emma Fyffe.
Hi guys, I'm so excited to be here.
Pencils and Parsecs, of course, every Friday night here at Hyper RPG. She also joined us for our Power Rangers commentary. Let's talk about your love for the Evil Dead, because you also you do a show.
I do, yeah. I for the past 2 seasons, because there are only 2 seasons so far, have hosted the Ash vs. Evil Dead after show at AfterBuzz TV. I've had the pleasure of interviewing many members of the cast of Evil Dead. I had the wonderful Ted Raimi on my show twice.
Who famously played a chef
last season, and he had some really interesting stories about making this movie. So
on air or off air stories?
No, mostly on air. So I'll see what little tidbits I can recall. But yeah, I love Evil Dead. I loved Xena and Hercules growing up as a kid, and so for me, one time I think I saw part of Army of Darkness first, and it was just like on TV, and I was watching it, and I was like, That's the King of Thieves. That's Autolycus. Because that was the character that Bruce Campbell played on Hercules and Xena, who was a favorite character of mine. And so I was like, well, I gotta watch this. And I was like, well, this is a little different, but I like it. I think I'm gonna keep watching this.
That might be what we're talking about. What was your first Evil Dead film? Because I think now so many people have a different. So yours was Army of Darkness
for sure. Yeah.
What about you, Adam?
I think it was this, because I discovered this really late in life, like in high school. One Halloween, I went over to a friend's house. They're like, we're watching Evil Dead 2. And I'm like, what is this? And I knew who Bruce Campbell was.
Right.
I seen him in, he was in the Spider-Man movies doing cameos for Sam Raimi. But I didn't know the history that those two had together. So I started looking at the packaging. I'm like, oh, it's Sam Raimi and it's Bruce Campbell. I'm like, this is really interesting. And I really ended up enjoying the movie.
And our second guest today is a producer over at Screen Junkies. Guys, he's great. Follow him on Twitter. Tons of hysterical stuff. Tons of movie knowledge. Mr. Lon Harris. Lon, thank you so much for joining us.
Now get out.
We gave you your intro.
I peaked with that.
Walk. Go walk. So you're also an Evil Dead fan. You're wearing a shirt.
I love Evil Dead. Yeah, I got this.
too.
You guys are both themed.
We both have Evil Dead.
Yeah.
I didn't notice.
This
Black
is
and
the new
red
one.
makes it pop.
That's true.
Black and red makes it
And
pop.
to be fair, mine is an Ash vs. Evil Dead shirt that I got for free from Stars. So
To be fair, it's May the 4th, so that's why I'm not prepared.
And we're also doing a Dark Tower trailer watch. So that's why I'm watching.
Perfect.
Everybody's shirt has a long back. We'll get through at some point.
So for you, which one was your first?
I loved a show that Bruce Campbell did. It was not. I mean, I like Xena, but it was a little show called Briscoe County Jr. And I really love. My brother and I got really obsessed with that show when it was on TV. And then Army of Darkness, I discovered because I was like, oh my God, the guy from Briscoe County Jr. And the guy who created that show made a movie.
Wow.
So I watched Army of Darkness totally cold. Had no idea it was even part of a franchise of films.
Right.
I really sort of thought when I first saw it that it just started weird like that. I really didn't. I thought it was just like, he's got a crazy vision and we're just jumping right in.
Which is kind of what they wanted, because Army of Darkness was made by Universal. So they were kind of like, this is kind of part 3.
Segue very quickly out of Evil Dead world and into Army of Darkness world. And then I got really obsessed with Army of Darkness, and that's when I went back and watched Evil Dead 1 and then 2.
Yeah.
And I almost didn't get to Evil Dead 2 because as a young person then, Evil Dead 1 was a little bit much.
Yeah,
for me.
Evil Dead. Well, it's really interesting because, when they set out to make these movies, the first movie they really were trying to make a horror film.
Right.
Well, because Sam Raimi was trying to make like an example movie.
Oh,
like
yeah.
it was sort of like with James Wan and Saw. They didn't think those were going to be the thing. They thought it was
Right.
going to be like, here's what I can do. Give me money to make something I want to make.
Right.
And then Saw came and you're like, whoa.
Right,
Yeah, yeah.
exactly. And so the tone of the first Evil Dead is very different. And even Evil Dead 2 is not quite at Army of Darkness level of like
No.
camp.
Right.
Which we then, of course, see carried over into the Star series, Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Sure, yeah.
Which, if you are not watching that show and you are a fan of Evil Dead, what is wrong with you?
Yeah,
It
it's
is
so
amazing.
good.
It's
It's
like
good.
one of the best series on television.
It's very, very hard to get that where it really still feels like part of the movies and that
Yeah.
world. And all those years later, like how many projects have tried
Yes.
to like come back 15, 20 years later and like recapture it?
Yeah.
Almost never works. And somehow they managed
They
to
pull it
like
off.
all the
And
ingredients.
season 2 was just even better than season 1.
Yeah.
Yeah,
so
it's really, it's a great
such
show.
a good show.
Yeah.
Yeah, so as for me, I remember seeing, like I knew who Bruce Campbell was, and I knew Evil Dead is like this horror series. And I think it was one of the, like a commercial for the video game. One of the video games was out.
Right.
Oh,
And I was
okay.
just, because I watched wrestling, and that was like the
makes
demo
sense.
where they were going to show
Yeah.
commercials
Sure.
for the video game.
Yeah.
Sure, sure.
And I was like, I finally got to see these. And so I actually went in order, and I watched the first one. I'm like, this isn't funny.
Yeah.
I thought these were supposed to be funny.
Right.
mean,
yeah,
it's-
well, right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Because after Army of Darkness, you're like, when does this
Yeah.
get like goofy and silly
Yeah,
and
exactly.
fun and
Yeah.
boomstick and all that?
Yeah.
And it does not happen.
No, it doesn't.
Yeah,
It does.
no.
In fact, like Ash in the first movie is kind of lame.
Right,
Like,
yeah.
just-
It's,
Yeah.
yeah.
But I mean, I love all three for different reasons. I think actually, though, this one might be my favorite. Is two.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah, I love Evil Dead too. I think my favorite telling, because they sort of retell the first part of Evil Dead in the beginning of Evil Dead 2. Like they
Yes.
retell the first Evil Dead very quickly. But I don't know if any of you guys have ever seen or are familiar with Evil Dead the musical at all, but it is genius. It is absolutely genius. It's both the first Evil Dead and Evil Dead 2,
Oh,
but it has
really?
all the characters from the original Evil Dead.
okay.
It's amazing. So that's actually my favorite version of like the
musical.
beginning of Evil Dead. And then the series is incredible, and of course, Army of Darkness.
I do love Army of Darkness with the Bridget Fonda playing the girlfriend.
Yes, yes.
I mean, it was a big movie for me because I think as a kid, like horror used to kind of weird me out, and then you see Evil Dead 2, and it's like, oh, it's like okay, like it's funny, and other it doesn't make you like depraved to think it's funny. Like
Yeah.
it's gross, but we're all adults, and it's okay to be
yeah.
gross and violent. And like I think Evil Dead 2 is like the movie that really opened that up for me. Like, oh, like movies are just play, and like adults like to play with like
Yeah.
people getting hurt and blood, and it doesn't make you
Right.
like a sickie. You
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
It's like, okay, maybe it does. You
but
can
guys,
embrace being a sickie.
We're gonna jump into this. We're gonna count it down. We're gonna have a countdown clock. So counting it down. Make sure the controller's still on. Good.
It
Make
is.
sure you hit the right button, Cameron.
Yeah, I will circle. It's a circle button. So we're gonna count it down from 5, and there's gonna be a countdown clock, guys. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Boop. Oh, there it is.
Yeah.
Good. It did it. It did it.
That was fun with
Under the age of 17. Okay.
Oh boy.
17's a weird age that we settled on that.
Yeah.
That, right?
All right, you can
You're not
handle
quite
it.
out of high school.
Yeah.
You're good
You
with
can't like vote or anything.
but
Yeah.
like tits and guns are fine now.
That's
You're
like
in.
I was gonna say that's like the thing you get when you're 17. It's like
Yeah.
when you're 17, it's cool. You can like see movies that have
Yeah.
violence and swearing and blood and death.
I wish I would have known that when I watched Halloween for the first time when I was 9.
Ooh,
Yeah, my
the
parents
evil
didn't.
worlds beyond.
They didn't really have a like. You shouldn't watch that movie. It's
Yeah.
like scary and violent. Like they just like I like movies and I
Yeah.
they didn't know
Well,
enough about them.
mean,
I think
so
to be
many,
like you
so many
can't.
movies like in the earlier, like older films too, are like technically like not rated. You know
Right.
what I
Yeah.
mean? Like,
Right.
Well, I just think they didn't know enough about movies. So I'd be
Yeah.
like, hey, can I watch RoboCop? And they'll be like, well, a robot police officer sounds like.
young when I saw RoboCop.
That sounds like good-natured entertainment. I mean, he's upholding the law.
Yep.
I also don't want to pass off some of the puppet and like weird claymation
Yeah.
effects we had. at the
Oh
beginning.
yeah.
I love that era of like this early Tim Burton,
Yep.
RoboCop, like that era of like it's not CGI, so they still had to do this kind of weird stuff, but they were really going for it, like really
Right.
pushing.
Yeah, well,
what
like
you could
with
do.
with the face of the Necronomicon, and that is
Yeah.
still a puppet to this day. Like it's an updated puppet, but it is still a puppet on Ash vs. Evil Dead.
Wow.
Now, how many versions of this movie do you guys own on DVD?
Oh my God, there are so many different
Yeah.
ones.
Yeah.
It really started to piss me off with this one in Army of Darkness 2, where it'd be like the bootleg edition. Like, do I have to buy this too? Is it like one grainy scene different?
I think,
and a lot of them were. A lot of them were like, we put one grainy 2-minute scene in. There you go, kids.
And between this,
that'll be 1999.
Blade Runner has a million versions of it as well.
Halloween.
Oh,
Halloween
yeah.
has so many DVD
So
releases.
many.
Yep.
Here's one that Dean Cundy approves of. John Carpenter says he likes.
Yeah.
Yep.
When I worked at
cuts,
a video store, and we used to like, we would put stuff like that in the back, so we'd have like a few of each edition of all of these kind of culty movies. Because there would be like people online who were like, I gotta have every
version.
I gotta have all 15 versions of Stargate.
This is the relationship we all want.
With Linda 2.0.
Someone dancing while I play the piano.
Yeah, of course.
Moderately well.
Right.
The hair is so great.
I know.
So good.
Also, in Ash vs. Evil Dead, they've kind of continued the joke of the multiple Lindas. They've kind of left it in a place of like, are these two Lindas the same Linda? Probably not, because the girl who was his first girlfriend, because he goes back to his hometown, is also named Linda.
Yeah.
The back of her hair is just so thick.
Oh,
it's
God.
it's like a broom.
Yeah, it's like a broom.
Yeah.
It ain't moving.
So awkward.
So I just
This
rewatched.
is the conversation I'm gonna have on my first day.
Well, like the magic of this scene and this whole movie really is like he's sort of joking the whole time. Like it's not supposed to be good dialogue.
Yeah.
No, yeah. I mean, in this one, they definitely have committed to the fact that this is a comedy.
Right. But even in like these early scenes before it gets totally funny. It's like it's almost sort of a parody of like that, the Friday the 13th kind of genre.
Well, he also knows how to play a thing. Like I just rewatched Bordello of Blood.
Yeah.
And it's not a good movie in any way.
Oh, no.
But like Dennis Miller has such this like attitude of this isn't serious and keeps calling out the movie as not being serious.
Right.
That it really takes you out of the movie. Whereas like Bruce Campbell can perfectly play that balance of like he's still in the movie, he's the character, but he can be a little silly.
Right. And it's like winking at you without it being like, right?
Yeah.
This is stupid, isn't it?
Yeah, too much.
I love that it's Explorer went in with a sweater.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. I mean,
and it's just like sitting there too, like none of the Indiana Jones, like it doesn't have to go in.
They're
just kind of there.
Yeah.
Just no one looked. No one really looked that
it looks
hard.
like they literally just like went down some stairs.
No, literally no one ever thought to just walk into this cave.
Yeah.
What luck.
They should have. Well, I guess if you wanted to like, take over the earth, then yeah, maybe it is a pretty good idea to just like leave your Necronomicon in easy access. Oh my God.
It's also this now makes me think of all of like the BioShock games where you got to like walk around and collect tapes to find out everybody's
what happened. Yeah.
Like, I've told Ryan that the Rapture can't sustain this kind of technology.
My God, I put him in the cellar. In the ocean? And this is like, I think like as somebody who wanted to make movies very young, it was always interesting to hear how they did some of these effects, especially like, not so much this one, but the first one for sure, where it was like, we just kind of put the camera between two chunks of wood. Guys run it.
Yep. But that's become that like classic like Evil Dead tracking shot.
Yeah, right.
100%.
It's in so many movies. Yeah.
These types of movies are great because they are film school.
Oh yeah.
Totally film school.
Well, this is also the movie where we learn how much Sam Raimi loved the Three Stooges. Because it is.
That is very true.
Like, even though, like, in the first one, like, Ted Raimi and those characters were named Shemps, which you wouldn't know unless you saw the credits. Like, there's little things like that. This is the one where it's, like, talking about the writing of this movie, him and the co-writer talked about, like, they're often just up late laughing, thinking of, like, the stupidest things they could do in this movie. Which kind of reminds me of when Stanley Kubrick was writing Dr. Strangelove. And him and his co-writer talked about they would just, like, be up till 4 a.m. laughing.
Yeah.
And being like, it'd be stupid if we did this. And they're like, oh, let's do it.
I mean, it's one way to take care of it.
Yeah.
This one also, it's almost like a Looney Tunes.
A little bit.
Totally.
Like, I do also feel like there's Chuck Jones DNA in some of it.
Especially in the dance sequence.
Yeah, with the hand, like him fighting his own hand.
But that's like, it's so iconic of Evil Dead, though, is the fight with his hand.
Right. Yeah. It is like there's this weird sort of cartoonness to.
Yeah. No. There
like
absolutely
and obviously
is.
like the deer head coming to life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like even with like the appearance of some of the Deadites in this film, it's like they hadn't quite evolved into how they look in, again, Army of Darkness, and then carries through the TV series, where it's like quite settled on the look for them yet.
Well, this was one of the early. I don't know if they were called K and B at this point, but this was the K and B guys.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't think they were called. There was no organization K and B. I don't think.
Yeah, and they now, for those who don't know or are watching, they do The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
This is great.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's like, what on earth?
And this was the end of part one. Part one ended with him getting grabbed.
Yep. So they just retold it very, very quickly. Simplified it. They went with some other friends.
Without the other friends. I'll forget him.
And his sister.
Don't worry about it.
Can't afford them.
Yeah, I can't afford him. Get him out of here.
Yeah. And his sister, who is definitely canon.
Yeah, but it's also interesting. I mean, having come to this movie so young, where you're not aware of like, oh, that was a difficult shot to do.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder how they did that. You just know that this movie's different.
Yep.
Like, other movies don't do things like that.
Well, we were talking. We did a test this weekend for some of the Patreon stuff, which we'll talk about a little bit as we go on. So we tested watching the first Mortal Kombat with the chat, and we did a watch along for Mortal Kombat.
A Paul W.S. Anderson classic.
Maybe his best movie.
It is, right?
And
Yeah,
I mean, it would be that or the original Resident Evil.
Which,
But I gotta go.
I gotta go Mortal
I go
Kombat.
MK.
I'm actually all in on Mortal Kombat.
If we're talking about theme songs, it's not even a contest.
You mean you don't like Marilyn Manson's one and only score?
No, I don't.
Pass.
But the thing we were talking about the first Mortal Kombat, and I said I think it was the second Mortal Kombat. Every movie fan has this moment where you realize you see a movie and you go, that was bad. Movies can be bad.
Yeah.
And I think it was Mortal Kombat Annihilation. And getting into that, I was like watching movies like this. Like, this is a low budget thing, but when you're a kid, low budget, big budget, whatever it is, it's all
matter.
it's effects. It's cool. I don't know.
It really doesn't matter when you're a kid.
I feel like I'm with you. Like, I feel like Mortal Kombat Annihilation was one of the first movies that I was like, oh, this is not good.
Whoa, it is not good at all.
Movies can be bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, no.
That was Cyrex.
If there's a movie you haven't seen like since your childhood, you won't even have a good sense of like whether it really looks good. Like I didn't even register stuff like that as a kid. One that I was thinking about this recently with, not to take us on too much of a detour, but Flight of the Navigator. Do you guys remember that one?
I love that.
So those effects are wow. Oh my God! It is 80s in here. But as a kid, did not faze me at all. It looked fine. I didn't remember that it looked cheesy.
There's also stuff that you remember that you have from movies when you're a kid that you forget. Like I think everybody I've ever pulled, I go, what's the one scene from Ghostbusters you always forget's in there? People go, ghost blowjob.
Oh yeah.
No one ever remembers that's in there. You could have seen Ghostbusters 800 times, and that scene will come up, and you'll go, oh yeah.
Yeah.
But as a kid,
you sort of just like don't process it. I actually remember specifically being confused by Ghost Blowjob when I was like 6, 7 years old.
I didn't understand what was happening.
I didn't.
Not at all.
That's what I mean. Like it was like what's happening?
So you totally forget about it. Like,
she's scaring him. Or like it's like what is happening?
Also
peekaboo, I don't understand.
Okay. So we'll go back to it in a second. The car that's in this film and
Sam Raimi's
it is
iconic car.
Yes, it is literally his mother's car.
Right.
And
it's in every one of his films.
It's in every one of his films. And for Ash vs. Evil Dead, which they filmed in New Zealand, they had that car flown out to New Zealand.
I did not know that. That's a good fact.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's like the game is like try to spot it in every.
Even Quick of the Dead, they use parts of it. For a scene.
The Gift, it's in like I forget where it's in like a clever little spot.
Yeah,
it's in the guy who shoots Uncle Ben in the first Spider-Man movie. It's his getaway car.
That's right.
Yeah, and it is literally it's Sam Raimi's mom's car that he was driving at the time.
I had no idea.
Yep.
Oh, I love this. No!
Acting!
It's so weird to see this super young Bruce Campbell because I've gotten so used to looking at what he looks like now. I mean, he still works all the time.
Burn notice, Bruce Campbell.
Yeah.
Now
this is also the era where, I mean, they talked about on the Blu-ray, some of the actors working with him, that like, his whole goal was to be in the best shape he could possibly be in this movie. Like he watched everything he ate.
Yeah.
And like you see it, like he is like thin and in shape and all that. And obviously he gets in the better shape for Army of Darkness.
Yeah.
But now we are so used to Bruce Campbell's, even as Ash being like this gluttony character.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Bubba Hotep era. Yeah.
I love the way this movie is
Yeah,
shot.
this is still, he still looks pretty good in Hudsucker Proxy.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
That was
Congo, his 2 seconds in Congo.
It's a very brief appearance in Congo.
What a film, Congo.
Oh, I just rewatched Congo because we.
Hey guys, you want to see a movie with Tim Curry and Bruce Campbell?
Yeah.
Sure. Did they share a scene?
No,
They're
they
just
don't.
both in it.
There's a lot of Ernie Hudson though. I love Congo's great because Tim Curry and Ernie Hudson know what movie they're in.
Yes.
No one. They did not tell anyone else.
Which kind of makes it genius.
It is,
I
like,
love
the
that.
Delta.
And even Laura Linney is like
She's
there.
trying.
She's in it. She's like living that.
Because these people legit, and I understand why. They legitimately thought they were making another Jurassic Park.
Yeah, she
it was
thought-
sold that way.
She thinks she's making a real movie, and Tim Curry is like, ha 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 ha, no.
Yeah.
This is a joke.
Stop eating my sesame cake.
Yeah. I am Hercule Homunca. Like, this is, everything about that movie is ridiculous.
Sucks when doors don't work.
Yeah.
I mean, it's great.
It's
if
great for
you
you when
need
you're
to
trying to bust
like
through
bust
them.
through a door.
But we're trying to close it and keep things out. You're like, oh god, why? Why does it
I
happen to
love
me?
this. I love how they literally just
This
go
is
through
awesome.
the set.
Yeah.
Well, this is so great because movies, like, the rule is you give us a reverse shot so we see what he
Yeah.
sees.
Yeah.
And this is just like, nah.
Nope.
Nah.
I love
You're
that.
like-
But it's
Yeah.
like scarier that way because you're like,
Yeah.
I don't even know what he's looking at.
Nope.
Yeah, it's one of the many cases where, like, yeah, the necessity of, like, well, they just didn't have the ability to show you
Yeah.
Yeah.
is made it better.
Yeah.
This also just feels like one of those movies, like, maybe not for Bruce Campbell, but if I was like the filmmaker, I'm like, oh, it's going to be so fun. Like the camera guy who gets to kick down a door
Yeah,
and
exactly.
run after an actor.
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah!
I get to do what? Hell yeah.
Whereas Bruce Campbell's probably like, I'm so tired. All right, 4 more takes.
Yep. Just keep running through the house.
How many more damn doors?
Well, they probably didn't shoot that one. I bet they tried to only do that one a couple times.
I'm sure
Right.
they did. Yeah.
I don't think they wanted to reset that.
Every time.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They probably didn't
That
have.
dang
They
cabin.
probably had like a day to do that whole thing.
One of my favorite jokes.
Yes, I freaking love this random ass storyline of
I do too.
Annie.
I always love, like, these parts of horror movies are like so great. Like, to see how
sweater.
different filmmakers deal with, like, well, you gotta cut away to somebody investigating
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You know, like, there's got to be some B story.
That's where you get stuff like Suspiria, where they're like,
Yeah.
oh, this crazy haunted house, what should she do? She should go see Professor of Ghosts. I don't know.
To me,
Played
like,
by Udon Kerr,
Yeah.
not using his own voice.
like Halloween is an incredibly elegant version of it. And
Oh, the
then,
little boys? Get your ass away from that.
Yeah.
And then The Shining with Scatman Crothers. Is like,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
wow, that's like maybe the masterpiece of it.
Get your ass away from there.
Just give him like
Love
this
it.
weirdo character that's sort of
Yep.
inexplicable.
Yeah.
Just around the margins of the movie, and then we follow him all the way there for no reason. So
I love that whole thing is shot, that whole scene is like shot as if like these two characters are like, oh, there might be a romance here. There's probably something
Right.
between like
Yeah.
them longing, like the guy's longing.
do I sense sparks
Well,
between
they
these two?
they like did they just
Little smoocher?
did they just yeah they kissed when she
Yeah.
got off the plane.
You're like, oh, there's a romance here, and that guy he doesn't last long.
No,
and she
no.
doesn't give a shit.
He
once
actually
he's gone.
he sings a whole song about how he doesn't last long in the musical. It's
That's
really
funny.
funny. Uh-oh.
What do we think of the remake?
I like the remake. I
Yeah,
mean,
with
I
Mia.
I did not unabashedly love it, but I felt like the fact that they used practical effects so
Yes,
much
that was
is what sells it. I
positive
think, to me.
about it for sure.
I appreciated the blood. I appreciated like the amount of gore for a movie
Yeah.
that's like on the big screen,
Yeah.
like in multiple cinemas. The only thing I didn't is like part of the charm for me of The Evil Dead is like the insane randomness, especially like when you think of the first one where it's
Yeah.
like water and the
Yes.
mirror turns to water and all this other stuff. Like it's all this stuff that's just pushing to drive Ash crazy.
Right.
And I feel like the remake was like, oh, the book literally it's a map. It's going to tell you what's about to happen.
Yeah.
It felt like it lacked that. Like I'm like, if blood came out of a light socket, it'd feel weird in this one.
Yes.
And
I mean, I think the other thing about it, which is sort of like with a remake, you're kind of you go with one or the other. Either you're a slave to the original, and like we got to recreate all these big iconic scenes and moments, or you're like we're gonna blaze our own trail and sort of
do something totally
reimagine
different.
it and risk the ire of fans who are like that's not right. And I feel like they definitely go with like the A plan. Like let's just go like bit by bit. Like you want to see the bit with the trees? Here's the bit with the trees. You want to see the bit where she's stuck in the basement, the little thing comes up. Here's the bit. You know, hit those beats. So the downside of that is that it feels kind of rote and it feels kind of familiar. It feels less like shocking than it should.
Yeah.
Because you're like, well, we're gonna. It's almost like it's Charlie and the Chocolate Factory syndrome.
Oh
well, now Mike TV's got to disappear. Like those movies.
Well, there's that, but there's also like
like
when they're going through the book, like it literally says like, here's the things that are gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I'm like, huh. I would have been kind of cool to be surprised because like the basement thing wasn't in the book, but like how people cut themselves and where they cut themselves.
Yeah.
And also I felt like the demons in this one in the remake were just too much like Reagan from The Exorcist and not like the Deadites.
Yes.
Like it was a lot.
There's
It was a lot of
stuff.
like I'll suck your cock and I'm like, this is The Exorcist.
Yeah.
There's not a lot of like this kind of shit.
Awesome.
Which I love.
It's more. You're right that it's more like either traditional zombie mixed with like possessed.
Yeah. Whereas like the Deadites are funny. You know what I mean? Like.
Well, yeah.
Even in the first one, there's like a degree of like their goal is to drive him insane.
Right. And again, I think this. Yeah, we were talking about like this is where like the Chuck Jones-ness of it. Like it's just like Daffy Duck, where it's like Daffy Duck doesn't have a real motive. Like the hunter wants to kill him and he wants to get away.
Sure.
But he's really just like fucking with you because he thinks it's funny. And like there is a sense of like they're just fucking with him because that's what they do. They're evil.
Yeah,
and they
they're
like
bad.
to fuck with people.
Yeah.
They're just bad, right? Yeah. Yeah, it's not goal oriented necessarily, which is what makes it so fun and weird.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, we're gonna drive him crazy and we're gonna kill him,
the other one does
Deadites are gonna rule the earth. Like that's about it.
Right. I also didn't like. The other thing that bugged me about the remake, and I realized I liked it, but the other thing that bugged me about it was I didn't like.
You can like it and still have issues with it.
Right, but like the drug subplot of like, no, you got to stay here in the woods, like dry out, like you don't need.
Well, I think that bothered me because like
need that.
I actually, well, here's the thing. I wouldn't have minded that because that would have been blazing its own trail, but it drops it after like 10 minutes.
Yeah, it's not.
So it's like, why'd you bring it up?
It's just so rote, and it's not. They don't take it seriously, and it's just like you don't need to like amp this up. They can just go to the woods.
Yeah.
But I do love that it's like it's really gross, that movie.
And then this whole sequence.
Yeah. This is what I mean. Like as a kid, I would have felt like this is wrong to laugh at.
Right.
Like you shouldn't laugh. This is horrible. And this movie is like, no, it's okay.
Yeah.
It's also the sound effects by having the dummy head go every time.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, no, you can like, it's like it's a dismembered head. It's funny.
Yeah.
Now this is a moment where Blu-rays hurt things a little bit because you can clearly see he doesn't say woodshed.
Yeah.
Like Blu-ray, as great as it is, it makes movies like, oh my god, the picture's so clear. You're also like,
oh,
too clear.
That
Too clear.
ADR was a little. That's rough.
There's a dividing line in time. It's like anything before like late '90s starts to show its age a little bit when you Blu-ray it.
Jeez.
Definitely really old movies. Like if you watch like Maltese Falcon on Blu-ray, it's like, oh, that is a set. My God. Oh, there's somebody's office is behind that set, and they're using it right now.
Oh, that is a plywood wall.
Yeah, right. Like people will knock into things and they'll wobble.
Yeah.
Oops.
I love how he looks around like as if he didn't have a blowout on him.
But also, like, who
love
just
it.
like
I love it.
draws a little truck
I never
driving a
actually even
chainsaw?
put that together before. Like, why is there an outline of where the chainsaw goes?
Just in case I forget.
Wait, where do I usually put the chainsaw? Oh, I left that.
Oh, in this big chainsaw-sized
my
cabinet.
God.
Perfect.
Yeah,
So this is one of those sequences where it's
that's
like
really stupid, and I never realized it before.
Oh my
this
god.
is one of those sequences where it's like the guys underneath controlling the dummy are just
Yes.
whacking him
Yeah.
into the.
Now I'm imagining they got to the set that day, and they were like, Sam, how does he know that a
Where the
chainsaw would
chainsaw-
normally be there?
Yeah.
And he's like,
That is a little
oh,
convenient.
well, I mean, we'll just put a little outline.
Well, outline it. It's
Is
all
that,
good.
why would you do it? Just put a
Just
little
put it
outline.
there.
Yeah. There must have been like another way to indicate a chainsaw.
So we have a little sign hanging, like, put
Chainsaw
chainsaw
goes
here.
here.
Well, it was breaking character right there was dumb because
Yeah.
he was feeling guilty about it. But
Yeah, it was. I mean, that's one of the things that I've always liked about the Deadites is their ability to turn back. Because like they've played more with that in
Yeah, they do a
later
lot of
on,
that in
especially
Ash
especially on the
vs.
show.
Evil Dead,
Yeah.
Of the like Deadites' ability to appear as if they are not Deadites. And sort of how they sort of mess with you psychologically to try to drive you insane.
I want to go to Jacksonville with
Yeah.
you.
Oh God.
I was love that they used the black blood that they used for the Penguin in Batman Returns.
Yep.
Yeah.
I just need a drink of some nice water.
Water.
Oh, God damn it. I put the cue I'll murder you momentarily.
I feel like
That'd
if
be a fun movie,
anybody
too.
has perfected the formula for fake blood, it is the crew
Yeah,
of
the
Evil Dead.
crew.
Oh yeah.
There were on movie fights there. I wanted to pitch greatest villain performance from any superhero movie, and we didn't do it because we were like, everybody's gonna say Heath Ledger,
Right.
which is and he's amazing. But
Yeah.
I was thinking like I think you could go either Michelle Pfeiffer or Danny
Oh,
DeVito.
Totally.
I love Michelle Pfeiffer.
100%.
They're both incredible in that movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Those two.
Neither of those performances get there.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
maybe the only superhero movie, and there's R-rated ones out there that uses the word poontang.
It's true. Not often. Even Deadpool doesn't
Yeah,
get around
doesn't.
to Poontang, I don't think.
But Christopher Walken to the
Yeah.
Penguin.
Yeah. Oh Jesus.
That's I think Batman Returns is so great.
I love that Batman Returns.
It's-
Like let's put can we make Christopher Walken a villain? Well, what villain do you want
Sure.
to be? I just want to make one.
Just
up.
Christopher Walken.
Yeah.
Max
Just gonna be
Shrek.
Christopher Walken.
Controversial opinion. I actually think Batman Forever is the worst Batman movie.
Oh.
I like Batman and Robin more. Because I
Um,
think Batman and Robin consistently is what it is. And Batman Forever has two
sort
feet
of-
and like,
yes.
we're kind of Tim Burton-y psychological, and Nicole Kidman's a psychiatrist. And what is Batman? By the way, here's the Riddler. And he's,
You're right. Yeah.
And he's
Like,
wackadoo.
Honestly,
like
Tom-
something
Tommy
out
Lee
of
Jones.
Tommy Lee Jones.
You think it's worst performance?
Yeah.
I think the one argument to make for Batman Forever being the worst is Tommy Lee Jones
Yeah.
as Two-Face, which is just like, who knows what he's doing.
It's trying to be the Joker, but
Well,
it's
also,
terrible.
and like
Who
random
knows
side
what that
characters,
takes?
like the guy in the bank vault, who's like, boiling acid!
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's really, honestly, the only thing with Batman and Robin is the back credit
bat.
card. I'm just like I can't do the
Never
back.
leave the cave without
I
it.
can't do the back credit card.
Yep.
Oh, I love
Sorry,
this.
it's too much.
How many times over the course of Evil Dead, all of it, does like Ash have battles with himself? You know what I mean? Like it's
It's the entire 3-episode finale.
yeah.
Right. It happens a lot.
Also, by the time he's this far in the film, he's got to wear these dirty shirts all the
I
time.
know.
It's like it's Bruce Willis in Die Hard syndrome.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
progressively throughout the film, the clothes have to get grimier.
Oh, that great stop motion animation with the hand.
Yes.
And just like the decision to give the hand like a voice.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it's like a little squeaky rodent voice.
Yeah.
Like, it just is.
You bastards. that's also maybe worth noting. The cinematographer of this would then go on to be David Lynch's cinematographer
Ah.
and did Mulholland Drive.
Yeah.
Yes.
And you could totally see all the similarities between this and Mulholland Drive.
Oh, yeah, practically
Really
the same
sister
film.
films.
The opera sequence.
Yes.
Who's Who, a doppelganger
Yeah.
situation.
That looks like Alex Jones. I was like, is that a young Alex Jones?
This is where he came from.
We're gonna beat these deadites!
This is why he thinks goblins are
This
real.
is like, it's Hillary Clinton in there. She's a demon.
He got too into it on set.
Sorry if you're Alex Jones
Yes.
watching. I don't know how much your guys' audience and InfoWars audience
I
overlap.
don't think there's much
The
overlap.
Venn
I don't
diagram.
think very
Probably
high.
I'd have to think
lot,
not a
yeah.
lot. I'd have to think not
I
a
have
ton.
to say no on that one.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's one. There's at least one.
One,
person
sure.
who's a big
Yeah,
fan
there'll
of Alex
be
Jones
there'll be
and
someone
Jones.
in there who's going to be like real testy about
There's
it.
somebody watching right now who's like, I mean, jet fuel can't melt steel beams, guys. It cannot.
That's like a lot of makeup for just like chilling in the woods. Like Annie is wearing less makeup.
Yeah. It's a lot of Woods makeup, that's true. He looks
Yeah.
less like Alex Jones there.
Yes.
And then this actress went on to go beyond, like, is it The Young and the Restless or something? Like,
She looks like a soap opera
she was,
person.
she was on a soap opera for a very long time.
Yeah.
Bobby Joe.
Maybe that's what happened. She like just came off of her soap opera audition and they're like, no, we'll just leave the makeup.
Yeah.
It's fine.
Walked into the next room.
Yeah, this
all
is
good.
like, in horror movie terms, the cleanest looking hillbilly woman
Yes, exactly.
ever.
I like that Annie's like, well, if you just carry my stuff, then
Yeah.
I'll totally listen to you. Oh my God.
This subplot basically got remade as California.
Yeah.
Beloved Brad Pitt, David Duchovny Jr.
There's a movie that does not get brought up anymore.
No.
California with a K, everybody, if you want to look that one up.
I love how he does the thing that so many people tend to do if you get injured, no matter what the injury, underwater.
But put some
Right,
water
right,
on it.
right.
Yeah.
Okay,
That'll-
so were
that'll fix
they?
everything.
So they were just eating beans all weekend. Like there was all these plates.
Again, more of like definitely like Looney
Emma,
Tunes.
it
like
was
the,
a romantic
the
weekend.
The plate
They've been
smashing.
together a long
Yeah,
time,
right.
clearly. They don't care.
Clearly.
That's how you know you're in a committed relationship, when you're just like, we'll just eat beans. We'll fart all weekend. Don't worry about it.
How much of this did Bruce Campbell like? Did he
Flip himself?
flip himself?
Yeah, that was pretty
I
good.
think he suffered a back injury doing this, too.
Yeah.
Oh, jeez. Maybe some brain damage, too.
Yeah. I mean, there's only so many like breakaway glass
Right.
plates.
Has anyone ever been hit with sugar glass?
No.
Like in a sketch or anything?
I have not. I have broken my fair share of sugar glass.
yeah. I've been
to
hit with it. It can be fun.
demonstrate to
Yeah.
people in the prop department what it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that, like, I mean,
Don't hit anyone in the
it
face.
definitely can cut you.
It can
Oh,
cut you.
yeah,
It
yeah.
absolutely can.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you want to like. Hopefully, the ideal situation with sugar glass is what happens in the beginning of this movie, where like the window shatters. So
Yeah,
like
yeah,
being
yeah.
thrown through a window is not bad because you can hit it like with your back and your
Right,
clothes.
right.
But yeah, like if you have a bottle broken over your head, like it can do some damage.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because I think people think like if you're in theater in high school or anything like that, people hear sugar glass, and I think they have a mental picture like, oh, it's like candy glass or something
Yeah, it's
like
like-
It
that.
just like vaporizes. as
Yeah,
soon as it
Yeah,
touches
not
you.
so
Yeah.
much.
Yep. Yes.
There it is.
So Evil Dead the musical, traditionally when they do productions of it, it uses copious amounts of fake blood.
Yeah.
And if you were in the first 3 rows of the audience, like
Oh,
you will get
no.
splattered.
Sure, yeah.
Now I really want to see that.
Yeah.
I've been on set when we filmed a few different like kinds of blood gags, and I always that shot is blood gags to me.
Yeah,
like that,
yeah.
I always
Yeah.
picture that. So I'm always like, can we just dump like a ton of
Yeah.
blood? And it's always the same conversation of like, well, there really wouldn't be that. I mean, we really did. That's a cartoonish amount of
Right.
blood, and I'm like, no, but that's
Nah,
what
but
it,
that's,
That's what it
well,
is.
And I mean,
That's what
and I
it's
think
supposed to
that
look
is
like.
that is the formula for ensuring that your horror comedy is a comedy.
Right,
Is
right.
Unbelievable
ridiculous.
amounts of fake
Yeah.
blood.
Just wait till the geyser sequence with
Yes.
I feel like because it's interesting. There's sort of
Take that, Alex Jones.
you can either go like no blood, like it's silly
Yeah.
and that's funny, or you can go way too much blood, like this or Dead
Yes.
Alive,
Yes.
or Dead Alive, like with the lawnmower,
Yeah.
where it's just churn and it's just everything. But in the middle is where it gets disturbing. Like,
Yes.
that's where it's Hacksaw Ridge,
Yep.
and you got to avoid it. Because like
Arms. Okay.
I always think of Fish Called Wanda, where like the dogs get run over, and it's like that's okay because they're just flattened. Like,
Right.
it doesn't
Yeah,
look like
yeah.
a dead dog. It
Yeah,
looks like
not like a real dead dog.
right. So that's okay. And then him cutting his own arm off and like jets of blood in his face is okay.
I gotta go.
Hands like, we're done.
And that's why I do appreciate that the TV series, because it would have been so, and there is a little bit of CGI blood, but for the most part, like, these actors get covered.
Oh yeah, they definitely get covered.
Yeah, it's like the anti-John Wick.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's like, that's always my issue kind of with, like, as cheesy as they are, like, the fact that the Expendables movies is all CGI blood is always like, oh, that sucks.
Missed opportunity.
Yeah.
That is
Yeah.
the thing about the John Wick series. I love it, but that is
Yeah.
my one hang-up is like, I wish it was a little bit less
thing is,
obviously
like-
digital
Right.
blood spray.
Fake blood is really fun and it's really easy to make. So
Yeah.
I think it's cleanup is so much of
yeah,
Yeah.
the cleanup is
Reset.
it. Yeah.
What?
Right.
Yeah.
Because like John Wick, if you imagine him running through one of those like clubs
Yeah.
shooting 100 people in the
He'll be
head,
That's true.
covered.
you don't want to have to reset that every
Covered.
time.
Well, that's always the thing. You can always tell, too, like, if you watch, like, the John Wick 2 trailer and he's doing that stuff and you're like, oh, it's going to be CG blood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course, right? Because it's just too much. Like,
Right. My favorite thing about
room would be a
Ash
slaughterhouse.
with the hand stump right now is how like very obvious it is that Bruce
Right.
Campbell's
He's
literally
doing
just
this.
making a
Doing this.
fist.
yeah. But also, he gets like good with it right away. Like
Yeah.
he's already using it to
Yeah,
like
yeah,
balance shit
yeah.
and stuff. You'd just be in so much pain if you're ridiculous.
I love this. This line.
Yeah, this is where like the one-liners
Here it
start
is.
to come
Yeah.
in.
This is one of the guys.
Yes. Oh.
Which is like, it's such a simple idea. It's just like, have your actor essentially just lie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have the set be a different angle and just drop it on it.
Oh, that's hilarious. The black blood.
And now begins literally one of my favorite sequences in film.
Yep. Oh my god, the evil Kandarian demon moose.
That laugh. And this does feel
Yeah.
like very Bugs Bunny.
It
cartoon.
does,
Totally,
yeah.
totally.
This is real like
Yeah.
cartoon.
I'm trying to remember if in the first movie, aside from Linda in her Deadite form who laughed, if like they had established the like Deadite like crazy laugh. I feel like it was really solidified in this
think
film.
it is.
Yeah, it's this one is more of the. Like what it would be like to live in Pixar world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You really would just go insane.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like really dark Pee-wee's Playhouse.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It reminds me of like Toontown and Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Oh, totally. Oh, it totally does.
That's
yeah.
awesome. And that's such a great tonal transition. Just all
Yeah.
you needed to do was cut the sound out for a second. That's
Yep.
all it took.
Yeah, he is surprisingly very efficient.
He's already
with
very
his,
agile with his
one
stuff.
hand.
Yeah. He's like putting pressure on
Yeah.
it. He's leaning things on
Let me
it.
tell you something. When you sever part of your hand, it hurts like hell.
It would probably hurt. I mean,
Yeah,
I'm guessing.
probably. Yeah, yeah.
It definitely does.
Yeah, you probably would have like possibly bled out too. But,
Yeah,
you know,
you weren't like,
flipping
you
coins,
didn't treat
it's like
the
you weren't-
wound
No,
or
yeah,
anything.
yeah.
You
Definitely no coin flipping after
yeah,
that
he literally
injury.
just hacked
You
his
weren't
hand off.
instantaneously killing it? How did that happen?
Oh,
Do you
that's
mind
Flipped
talking-
over in a buggy and the roll bar took it out.
Wow.
Oh, man.
Jeez.
Yikes.
Last week. It happened last week. Right? That's how efficient Adam is.
Earlier today.
He's
But
basically like Ash.
already back at work.
Yeah.
lean and shit.
Lose half a thumb and back at work the next day like, here I
Hacking
go.
away.
Yeah.
It's like, I feel like you should have seen that guy.
Yeah, right?
It's like
Didn't notice him. Just
Yeah.
didn't even, guys snuck up on him.
I know.
And I love that they use
Yeah, he's been like avoiding Deadites that we cannot see for this whole film.
I do love the Indiana
And then
Jones
just
hamburger
taking
punching
down my
sound.
redneck.
I know, right away.
Whoa,
It
whoa.
really is the Indiana Jones Nazi punching
Yeah.
sound.
Yeah.
Oh, he's got a big ring, too. I never noticed that. Why did you go to the door first?
Yeah. They were like, everyone's gonna be intimidated by her 80s makeup.
Yeah. It's like, it's her family's cabin, but she's like,
I know,
I'll get the
Annie's
door.
like, no, whatever. That is some like mist that they have topped her makeup off with.
He's passed out. He's definitely.
Yeah.
He got punched by this hillbilly with the college
Exactly.
ring.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, great idea.
And if you were somebody who watched these in orders, you're like, oh no.
You
not
know the cellar is bad.
I mean, the cellar in pretty much Eddie Hart.
It's really true.
Bad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's never a good cellar.
No.
Except for the cellar in War of the Worlds. They live.
That's true.
That is true. That's
but
true.
no, but it's
It's
the
not really a
that's where
horror
like the
film,
crazy
though.
Paradise Tim Robbins is hiding.
True.
Yep.
Baby?
Come on, baby. It's
Yeah.
gonna be fine.
How did they get there? Like they didn't actually show like how they got around the bridge being out. They just like magically
Appeared.
went over some other
They
hill.
went
knew a
around.
The long way.
Yeah.
And of trilogies that have Book of the Dead, I think I prefer this one over The Mummy. Maybe.
What, if you could take the
Yeah.
first Mummy by itself without the sequels, that's
Yeah.
a damn fine film.
It's I mean the first
those
Mummy is
sequels.
fun. That's yeah.
The sequels are rough.
Whoa,
Oh my God.
man, that
I
dragon.
can live with, I can live with 2. 3 is just
Three is
Yeah.
pretty dreadful.
I argue that actually the Mummy, the first one, is like the best continuation homage to Indiana Jones
Totally.
I've
agree.
seen.
totally.
I'd actually say if you gave me The Mummy and the first Scorpion King, you got a solid series.
Yeah,
That first Scorpion
yeah.
King. Because also the first Scorpion King is by Chuck Russell, who did Nightmare on Elm Street 3, which is the best sequel
Yeah.
in the Nightmare series. Oh, this rat is hanging out. I buried her in the cellar.
Oops.
Oh boy. Henrietta.
That
I would love to do a horror movie that would just a little bit of claymation.
Yeah.
That's all it was half a second,
Yeah.
but it was killer.
Oh boy.
Now those watching might not know, this is Ted Raimi.
Yes, it is. And he got to reprise this character in the latest season of Ash vs. Evil Dead.
It's a trick, I know it.
Yeah.
Trick, I
a
know.
trick.
Who talks like that?
He's a brilliant voice artist. He's doing a totally different character.
He's a wonderful improviser, this murderer who's in our cabin.
Yep.
I want to see more Henriettas at Comic Con.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Granted, it's probably a complicated costume to make, very makeup heavy.
Listen, you could do Henrietta before
Fun to,
she went all Deadeye.
fun to walk around and stay in character.
Yeah, walk up to all these like celebrities of the con, be like, "Come to Henrietta,
Swallow your soul.
swallow your soul, swallow your soul."
So good. Good job, Ed. Oh,
Most useless
Frame this.
character. Oh my god.
Boom.
Well, I think what I love about like this series, especially
Oh no.
oh no! Oh. I forget about Jake's redneck lady girlfriend because she is not in the musical.
Why'd she get left out of the musical? That's
I
not
don't
very
know.
nice.
Yeah, she got
Deleted.
left out. But Jake's really funny in the musical without her, so.
what also makes like scenes like this great is like the comic timing, and like
Yeah.
comic timing is
Yeah.
not something every director knows how to have, but like the amount to push, stop, and then
Yeah.
push again.
It's great. Uh-oh, anytime you get that tracking shot,
Yep.
trouble's coming.
Ding.
It's also interesting to hear young Bruce Campbell voice.
Yeah,
I
it sounds so
know.
different, I feel like.
Yeah. It doesn't have the same, like, gravitas of
Right.
grown-up Bruce Campbell's voice. Even, like, Bruce Campbell circa, you know, even once you get to the next film, once you get to Army of Darkness and, like, Xena and Hercules and Jack of All Trades, which I don't know if anybody else
yeah.
watched that show.
I'm aware of
Jack
Jack
of
of
all
all trades.
Yeah, I loved Autolycus, the King of Thieves on Xena and Hercules so much.
With his little like hot compress on his head.
He's been through a lot. He's had a significant
Yeah.
trauma.
Yeah, someone could do this at Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Just basic old, like nice old lady.
Yes. And everyone's gonna be like, what are you? But then you would have to have a way to like become instant Deadite.
Interesting
True.
parallel between that shot and the iconic It shot we're seeing so much of Pennywise.
Yeah,
and
the clown.
And the- yeah.
We all float down here.
Annie, don't fall for it.
Quickly.
You were born September 2nd, 1962. I remember it well because of the smuggling.
Okay.
First in September.
That being a seller is not my mother.
Bam!
I love like that. That's the other thing too about like the how someone becomes a Deadite. It's so random.
It is
Yeah.
so random.
Like
No.
seemingly because he got thrown into a picture.
Yep. Yeah, it feels like anybody that is like
Touched by one of
touched by a
these.
Deadite
Yeah.
in a way that causes them physical harm,
Yeah.
they then can
'Cause,
become
I mean, he
a
got
Deadite.
bitten and he didn't even.
Yeah.
Oh, this whole thing with that hair.
She already swallowed an eyeball. She was a goner.
Right?
I love this like actor had to like work to get this hair down the top of his head.
I love that, like, his hair is just still the same hair, but with his Deadite mask. Oh,
Well, there's that.
I mean,
guy.
it was bound
poor
to happen.
Jake.
It was inevitable.
Yeah, that's true.
Well, it's not, if you need his help. Calm, you filthy coward.
Yeah, it's weird that, like, he's like a lower class of Deadite, like, 'cause he doesn't
Yeah.
say anything.
Yeah.
I can't talk.
And
to
green
anybody.
blood.
Yeah.
I love her
He
screaming.
literally has a total of, like, 5 lines in this whole film.
Yeah, the main actress is screaming the. It was interesting because it was like, so Sam Raimi does Evil Dead, and then he does Crime Wave with the Coens right after.
Right.
And it doesn't do well, and he cannot get anything done for a while. And then it's Dino De Laurentiis' company that's like, we love if you did
we
another
like Evil Dead. Let's make more.
Stephen King quote on the box. You can do another Evil Dead.
Oh, the De Laurentiis
And so
company.
they were like,
What an impression! It's like Dino right
here.
here. I was like,
fair,
Dino,
I needed to mention a
did
lot
you
more
guys
like,
get Dino to
we
do a
put the
walk-on?
woman with the big boobs in the movie and put on the poster. If you read any Dino De Laurentiis stories,
Yes.
I'll just call up Martha and be like, here's Cameron. Is this an accurate representation of your dead husband?
according to Roger Corbett and other interviews I've seen, people always said like, oh, Dino was great. Dino was great. He always wanted more violence and big boobs.
Yes, yep.
He's not wrong.
No, and he got a lot of violence in this one.
Yep.
But then this one does well enough that Sam Raimi can then go do Darkman.
Yeah.
Darkman's dope.
Darkman is super good.
And he tried to get other. He petitioned to get Batman Forever when Tim Burton left. which would've
Thank
been
God that
fascinating.
didn't happen, and they went to Joey Shoes.
Oh, yeah.
You know
That
what's gonna be
was...
sad though? I'll say this: Joel Schumacher is gonna pass away, and people are gonna be like, "Good, fuck him," because Batman Robin. I'm like, bro made Lost Boys.
Yeah, no, Joel
People
Schumacher.
forget.
DC Cab, you guys hate DC
And I gotta be
Cab?
honest with you, like Joel Schumacher has like a kind of good sense of humor about it, where he's
Yeah.
like,
He does.
he's like, nah, they're gonna write bat nipples on my grave.
Right.
Yeah, no, I agree.
Yeah, but like, I mean, also Flatliners.
I like Flatliners.
Flatliners is
He
a
wrote
pretty
The
decent
Wiz.
movie. Yeah.
He wrote
Yeah.
Car Wash, which are like not slouch films by any means. Like this is the stuff I love, just like these little.
So
And
good.
this is always what I love about horror movies too. Is like in horror films, you can do stuff like this, and people just go like, "It's a horror movie."
Yeah.
Like you don't need to explain why certain things are happening. If you do this in any other genre of film, maybe except fantasy.
You're doing
Yeah,
like
yeah.
you're doing like an Iron Man movie. Everyone's like, "What the fuck is happening?"
Yeah, exactly.
This is the worst one because it's a stupid scene.
Well,
where
I mean, I think that's kind of why horror is such a good genre for
Oh,
people
yeah.
to kind of get into filmmaking,
Yeah,
because
totally.
you can just be creative. I mean,
You have freedom.
You look back on Alfred Hitchcock's films. It was all about what you didn't see. It's a well-established horror trope, so it's a good way to start making movies.
Yeah.
When it's also like the movies that kind of free people from like, but I think we tend to forget, especially now that everything's so hypercritical on the web, like everybody's analyzing and breaking everything down right away. It's like movies don't have to be a replication of reality.
No,
No,
no.
they
That's
don't.
boring.
That defeats the
we
purpose
all-
of movies.
We all
I also
live in
love
reality.
that like Annie has latched onto Ash so
Right?
quickly. When, like 2 seconds ago, she was
How much a filthy coward!
yeah, and she was like maybe having a thing with Eddie, the
Yeah.
blonde guy.
He's dead.
Well, like,
Yeah, he's-
listen, he's long gone.
Yeah, that's
so.
true.
But yeah, like sci-fi.
Also, like, can we
fantasy,
address the fact that she shows up to her like family's home and there's just some dude there
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
she does not know.
What is happening?
Like, there's no moment of like, what the fuck are you doing here, bro?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, well, everybody, like, there's blood, and so it's immediately like, what did you do to them?
yeah. But like, why didn't we maybe start with like, why are you here?
Yeah.
That was a little band of camping.
Where's my family?
Did you want some beans? That's all we brought.
No,
Get
did
away.
you see those shelves? They were well stocked with canned goods. This would actually be a great place to survive the apocalypse
True.
if there were no deadites trying to like
Right,
eat you.
except for the
Right, except for the
zombies.
One little
deadites.
problem.
Sucking zombies.
I do love that, like, on like I think it's like either the Evil Dead or Evil Dead 2 DVD back in like when they first came out. Like it shows like Bruce Campbell basically does live this life like in like a very nice house, but like in the middle of the woods, in the middle of the country. And I'm like,
Subtle.
I would love to do that.
Her 80s makeup has way toned down.
Yeah.
It's just,
She got sweaty.
yeah.
Oh.
And I love
feel
that this
like
couple
the-
is all hand holding.
I love that the
It's all
amount of
hand-holding.
sweat that's on all of them, though. Like, they clearly just, like, went in and, like, spritzed them all with water.
Little dry.
Oh,
Here's
those
the spritz.
scared reactions are so good.
What were you saying about people being hypercritical now?
Oh, well, I was just saying, like, so genres like horror, fantasy, sci-fi, like,
Yeah.
they get to because it's like not expected of them.
Right.
Yeah.
They get so much more freedom to just have fun, whereas like a drama, people are always like, no, it would cost 18 extra cents to use the bus, you know?
Exactly.
But people will still get nitpicky. I was talking with a friend of mine about the Babadook, which I love the Babadook.
Yeah, I really like the Babadook.
And people got so nitpicky about the ending where they were like, well, so was it real or not? And I'm like, the author did...
Who cares?
Who cares? But literally, the writer, director, one person, did literally everything they could in the movie besides stop the film and go, this is a fairy tale.
Right.
By making the character a fairy tale, it's a children's book, all this stuff. Nobody reads the end of Hansel and Gretel when Hansel and Gretel take their father to the witch's house and the witch's house is gone. Nobody reads that and goes, so was the witch real?
That's true. That's
Is this
very
a
true.
metaphor?
Yeah.
Well, it's like every Christmas special is like, so did Santa really come?
Right.
Urkel?
Like, sometimes you just let
See,
it
the
be.
hand-holding was a plot point, you guys.
I
Like,
know, I
they
love
needed
it.
to
It's an
establish that they hold
important-
hands all the time.
Important plot point.
Right,
Baby,
so
I'm
that
not
she could
holding
have
your
this
hand.
reaction to the ash hand.
Knock down the thing.
That one lamp was providing them with quite a lot of light.
Yeah. That was the savior of the set.
We gotta get one of those for when we film.
Right? I know, seriously. Guys, we're cutting your energy bill.
Okay,
And
now I think the
Yeah,
Alex
where do
Jones
you
guy
get
looks
the
like
where do you get the Evil Dead level oil lamp?
Yeah, right.
'Cause-
Redneck Alex Jones has transitioned into Redneck Gary Sinise.
Yeah.
Next time goes back to you see. He's like portly overalls Gary Sinise.
Oh my
Now I remember because again, like I watched these in order. So the tree scene from the first film, which is still one of those scenes in a movie where you're like,
"Ugh."
oh my god.
Yeah, it's
So I remember with watching the second one. This was one of those times where it's like I was watching it on VHS. I was like,
And you're like, oh
God.
no, oh no.
oh no, but also God, I hope my mom doesn't come in the room.
Yeah.
I don't want to explain what I'm watching.
Right.
But that's also famously a scene that Sam Raimi's like, I kind of wish we didn't do that.
That
Yeah.
differently.
Yeah,
Because it does have a sign of like young filmmaker.
Yes.
Like, trying to be like,
Yeah.
this will be crazy, and then
Yeah.
like you're in your 30s and you're like,
yeah.
oh, I feel gross that
It's
I
a
did
little,
that.
Yeah.
This would probably not have done today.
Like this is enough. Like just like
Yeah.
the branches going in the mouth is enough to make people go,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah, where you're like, oh, I understand what's happening
Which is
here.
why I thought it was really weird that they brought it back in the reboot too. You would think like
Yes.
this would be one of those cases where you're
where
like,
you'd be like, yeah, we're gonna pass on
yeah,
that.
like hey, you've got a second chance to like do this right.
It's a water slide you don't want to ride.
No.
But I do like kind of every like haunted house movie. You've always got to have that like, well, why don't they just leave the haunted house explanation? You
Yeah.
know, and like
Yeah.
like
Oh, I love that transition.
the like
good.
well, once it's released, it's everywhere and you can't get away. It's like
Yeah.
a really elegant.
Which they kind of do like in
Writing
movies
way
like
around.
Poltergeist 2 was kind of like, oh, the spirits followed you. Didn't matter.
Yeah, well, and Insidious is the modern version that does it really cleverly. It's like, oh, it's not the house is haunted; it's like your kids.
Yeah.
come with you. Like,
Yeah.
you always have to have like that to make it work.
I feel like also I want to go back to the effect of like the little branches going in her face.
Ugh.
Like I feel like that is such an 80s horror, like the bladder effects of
Yeah.
like people's skin where it's like this, American
Yeah.
Werewolf, Hellraiser.
Yeah.
But
Like
why did she go in the woods? She just like,
the hand freaked her out.
Yeah, they're
and
trying
so
to
she
get out of
just
the
ran.
house.
Yeah.
Okay.
But I mean, it does make sense. If you were in this cabin and all these horrible things are happening, you would think like, I just got to make a break for it. You know, like, I'm
Yeah.
just gonna get out.
It's
of
the
here.
dude in the blue
Yes,
shirt. If I get
yeah.
away from him.
Yeah. Oh my God. Amazing.
Such a children's
So
drawing.
I was gonna say
great.
that's like what all the extra papers on my desk look like. I'm
Yeah,
just like,
yeah.
I'm bored. I'm gonna draw.
And then also how the whole thing is like the whole thing's drawn in blood. I'm like,
Yeah.
where'd you get this blue blood?
I know exactly. Yeah, they
was
very
Crayola blood.
specifically in the intro are like, it was from this blood that,
Yeah.
that they used the pages to ink the book. It's like, really?
Except for this part, they got some
Except,
crayons.
except for this part. They got some
It was in
crayons.
Mary's.
Some crayons.
Some children's markers.
Some Crayolas.
The dark ones had like a pretty good like Staples budget. Well, that's good.
Yeah, Rift Time and
Yeah.
That's the great thing too, is someone had to sit there like back because this is the '80s. Someone had to sit there and
Oh yeah, they drew
This
these
whole
by
thing.
hand.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, they couldn't just
See,
use
they're-
like
they're-
clip
yeah.
art.
It's like, you ain't got to pull a gun on us, Lieutenant Dan.
Calm down, redneck Gary Sinise.
Yeah.
Bobby Joe,
Yeah,
that's her
I
name.
in
Okay.
case you didn't believe him.
Right. In case you were worried my girlfriend wasn't a redneck, her name is Bobby Joe.
Yeah, overalls are such a specific costuming choice.
They
If
really
you put somebody
are.
in overalls, it's like,
But you know, someone's a big
That's-
enough.
Except, but in the
code.
90s, the costuming choice of overalls was like plucky kid.
Yeah.
right,
yeah,
yeah,
love
you're a
this.
precocious kid,
Yeah.
yes.
Bunch of mumbo jumbo bullshit. There's zombies in a severed hand. What do you mean
Yeah,
bullshit?
bro, let's rethink this.
But I do love that.
It's like, yeah, Star Wars, like, I don't know about all your Force bullshit. It's like, it was only like 10 years ago.
Yeah. Right?
But I do love like this, where it's like that moment when he throws the pages in the cellar. I don't feel like you feel that anymore in film when something happens and you're like,
Oh God.
impossible.
Oh.
How are they gonna do it?
Yeah.
Yes. You're like, well, fuck, they can't go in the cellar.
Like the last time I
There's
did
no way they'll outrun this submarine. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, it's kind of like
I forgot they can drive fast.
like a moment that I had with that was like, and it was in the trailer for Iron Man 3, the airplane sequence where he's like, how many can I hold? He's like 3, and I was like, how's he gonna do it?
Yeah. Yeah. All shot practically, oddly enough.
Oh, I love
Yeah.
that sequence.
Best sequence of that movie.
It is the best part of that movie, yes.
Oh boy. This poor actress had to wear
Yeah.
a yellow shirt the entire filming,
I know. She didn't get a costume change.
which you just know like was filthy. It was just
Oh,
like,
yeah.
Because y'all, if you don't wear yellow often, it takes nothing.
Yeah.
You'll
Yeah.
be sitting in the nicest and whitest room. You'll look down and go like, when did I eat barbecue?
Annie is one character who has not been addressed yet on Ash vs. Evil Dead, and like she's definitely somebody that like I would like to hear
Oh, yeah.
about.
They gotta spread it. They
They do, yeah. I mean, this season it was Cheryl.
Right. They gotta, they gotta Bates Motel it. You gotta hold back some
No,
stuff.
absolutely.
Which now that it's over, I might start watching.
I
hear it's good.
I
It's
did not
really good.
watch the last season, but it's kind of fun. I mean, you kind of accept that
It is what it is.
it is what
Right.
it is.
Yeah.
It's kind of it's very silly, and they made the decision which violates the logic of the movie.
Sure.
That the whole town is kind of weird and
Yeah.
creepy.
I think the only thing that I saw the pilot. The only thing that turned me off about the pilot was, and it's such a stupid
Oh,
thing,
jeez.
was the fact that it's like
Here she comes.
that like this is real nitpicky. That one of the teenagers had like an iPod or an iPhone.
Yeah.
And I don't know why. There was one of those things where I was like, oh, this is modern, and it kind of bummed me out. Like I kind of wanted it to
Well,
take
he does.
place.
He does. Yeah.
It is. It is modern day, but I do like they've given it kind of a timeless
Yes.
quality where like she's still Vera Farmiga's character and his mom is still. Her style is very 60s,
Yeah,
and like
totally.
the decor is very 60s still.
Well,
So I kind of like that they sort
Yeah.
of mashed it up a little.
It feels like Norman and his mother are very much like
they're
in a
stuck
time
in the
capsule.
Psycho era.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
But the
everything else
town-
around him is
right.
modern.
and I think there was a
yeah.
degree to it, like the.
What's that? I forgot he does turn.
yeah.
Yeah.
It was kind of one of those cases, and also this was happening around the same time that Hannibal was on TV, and I loved Hannibal.
Oh man, I mean, Bates
know-
Motel is not as good as Hannibal.
Oh no, and I'm not expecting
yeah.
to, but like I
Yeah.
remember like Brian Fuller. They did an interview with Brian Fuller about like how have you avoided.
Hannibal, produced by the De Laurentiis,
De Laurentiis
company.
yeah.
Oh,
there you go.
that is not lost on me.
Full circle.
But the fact that like Brian Fuller, they did an interview with him, and it was like, how'd you do the show and like kind of avoid sexual violence towards women? And he was like, I kind of feel that's cheap and this, that, and the other.
Yeah.
And one of the things I thought of was the premiere of Bates Motel, where like the mom gets like
Yeah.
raped and sexually assaulted. And I was like, I understand you're going for it, but it didn't feel needed for that.
Yeah.
Sure,
thing.
but it is. I mean, you do with them. I think you do have to look at like.
Well, there's always
the
weird.
source material.
There's always
Like,
weird sexual stuff in that family and that whole thing. So I get why you would think it would need to
Right.
be there.
Yeah.
But it felt like one of those things where I was like, for this show that's on A&E, I don't know if this was needed.
Yeah.
Like there didn't need to be that to be the driving force. And now we're getting into the Bates Motel in a big bad way. That we didn't need that to be a driving force for
Right.
why the mother does the stuff she does.
Yes.
I was like,
I agree.
and it was just kind of one of those things where I was like, oh,
That's why I appreciate Brian Fuller, because he is very adamant that he will not do that because you only ever see like how that it's only ever used as like a catalyst in somebody's story.
Sure, yeah.
Or, he's like, if you want to watch a show that's about sexual assault, watch Law and Order SVU.
Right.
Like, I'm
Well,
not going to
or-
put it in my shows.
Or
Yeah.
yeah, or don't.
yeah.
You don't have to watch that one either.
I want to get a replica of this blade just because it's, it's so metal.
Yes.
Yeah, this death.
He even dies like dirty, like red.
Again, to go back to the musical, just because I love it. In the musical, when Annie stabs him, he sings a whole song about the fact that she stabbed him. And she's like, I'm sorry.
The door on his body.
Oh my god.
And I love that she keeps trying to close the door.
Yeah.
And he's not helping move at all. I know he got stabbed in the stomach.
Yeah. Yeah. Girl. There you go.
We've already seen the ineffectiveness of doors regardless.
That's true.
Right?
Like, doors really do not
It's
make a
not
difference.
really
like
like
butter
a
in this
door.
world.
And then this whole, I love her scream. It's just so comedic.
Borderline like
great.
laughing at herself.
Yeah.
Oh, it stopped.
And all she's got is a little bit of red right there.
Yeah. Miraculously.
Why you touch it? It hurts. Please stop.
It's so deep. She really got it.
Yeah, she got him good.
It went through. She
And
had,
it's
she
serene,
had
you
some
know, it's
strength.
got ridges.
Yeah.
It's
She had
not
some strength because it went through overall.
Yeah.
As well.
She's got some power.
Dang.
organs. Yeah, she really got him.
This reminds me of like that episode of Simpsons
Yeah.
with Millhouse when they're on the island. He's like, I can't go any further. Carry me. Hurry. Oh, it hurts. That feels the most real.
Yeah.
I know, yeah.
I feel like if I was in a situation like this, I probably
Yeah.
would be telling them, like,
I totally
shut
agree.
up.
Come on, I'm trying to figure
Yeah.
it out, idiot.
Of the like original movie Evil Dead girls, like Annie's definitely like she fights back the most.
She's like not the final girl, but the honorary.
Yeah,
final
exactly,
girl of this
yeah.
one, yeah.
Also, I never noticed this before. Like that her shorts have like
The
this,
rib.
Oh yeah, they just got
Yeah.
ripped.
That's
which I'm like, I bet that was real.
Yeah.
Yep.
My thighs are crazy.
Like we can't afford to buy other shorts.
Yeah, they're like, oh, well, we're just gonna. Oh.
That's just it. And then here comes the second geyser, which is one of my favorite
Yep.
geyser bloods in any horror movie
Yep.
ever. And this poor actor, you know, it went all up his nose.
Oh
Right?
yeah. Oh yeah. They were like, nah, she only has like that little like cup of blood. We gotta do something about
yeah,
this.
we gotta go extreme.
There's not that much blood in like 10 human bodies.
Right.
No, there's not.
And
No,
then
no, no.
the gurgling.
yeah.
It legit like just looks like
It's
some
like-
sort of
look how
red
clean she
soda.
Yeah.
Yeah, she really is still
It's
pretty
like
clean.
it's like the pink slime river from Ghostbusters.
Yeah,
too.
yes,
yeah.
yes.
The best comparison, speaking of Ghostbusters, is like
As
the
I
end of the
opted
first
out.
one when Venkman has just like a little bit of marshmallow.
Oh, yeah,
And
right.
the other guys are
Coated, yeah.
Oh yeah.
The necklace.
And I do love, like, it's so simple, but like the milky white.
Eyes.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Apparently those contacts, like you could not see
Yeah.
Oh,
in them,
sure.
and they hurt.
Yeah.
That's what I read.
They're huge.
Jim Carrey for The Grinch had to use like contacts like that with
Yeah.
the really big ones that you
Yeah.
can't see through. And yeah, he was saying it was like physical torture.
Yeah,
after a while,
oh,
'cause
yeah.
Your eye just dries out. And It's so
Yeah.
thick. Yeah, it's gross.
Yeah, I think they have since improved the technology for those contacts. But yeah, when they were
Yeah,
making,
probably.
especially the first Evil Dead, it was very unpleasant.
Because last week we did Legend, and they were talking about Tim Curry's Darkness movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that to do contacts like that, they would have to do like a sculpt of your eye. And he
Yeah,
said
they
that
do.
And I was just like,
Ugh, that sounds-
What? How does that even work?
Any eye stuff is just like,
Yeah.
well, the most famous eye thing ever, of course, is Clockwork Orange, when like Malcolm McDowell's like,
Yep.
oh, they put the numbing stuff, and I was like, oh, it feels fine. And I'm like, yeah, I'm not feeling anything. And then said he went home that night after the numbing solution had worn off, and he said it literally felt like someone had scratched him.
Oh God.
And I'm like, Oh God. This is my. What a bad shot, too. He was standing perfectly still.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Perfectly got the hillbilly right in the stomach.
Yep. Yep. Who knows?
Yeah, it's funny that it's a perfect ticking clock scenario that like Dead by Dawn, but they never actually give you any indication of what time.
Exactly.
how much
Yeah, of what
is
time
left.
it is right now. Yeah,
Yeah.
there's no. That's the thing is like there's no countdown. So
Right,
There's
like
no like
any
pressure.
other movie that was
Yeah.
like Dead by Dawn, it'd be like, all right, we only have
there'd
3
be like,
hours
yeah,
left.
there'd be
you
like
know?
dramatic like bells chiming.
They come up with ways to keep
Yeah.
showing you
The
like
time.
time passing.
Because all the clocks we do see are broken and
Always
sometimes-
broken
and
with
occasionally
blood.
evil.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And but even
Frequently
but
evil,
not
let's
even
be
any
real.
like you don't even get establishing shots that have it's like okay now it's midnight. Okay,
Yep.
Right.
now it's like
Yeah, no,
gonna be
not at
dawn.
all.
Nothing.
Yeah, today they would put like in
Dang.
the bottom corner. It would say like 3:30 a.m.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They wouldn't even give you any chance to wonder.
Yes.
Every scene would be like
Hey.
20 minutes later.
And it's a superhero movie.
And
Yep.
this is when Ash becomes Ash.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, this was in the 80s. This was more like the Rambo.
Totally.
Gear up.
Gear
before
up.
The mission.
Yeah.
Well, it's that funny thing of like what happens to movies as they age is that a scene that's like supposed to be very silly and comedic years later is now cool.
Epic, yeah.
Like a
Yeah.
good example of that's like the DeLorean in Back to the Future. Robert Zemeckis and Bob Gale talked about they picked that car because they thought like
Oh, it's funny.
that's a
it
a
looks
DeLorean
stupid.
can't.
Yeah.
A DeLorean can't even accelerate to 80
Right.
miles
Yeah.
per hour. It would
Right.
fall
Like,
apart.
Exactly.
it's such a
exactly.
joke because like, and that's why that line delivery when he's like,
You build a
made
time machine
Out of a DeLorean?
Yeah, and
Yeah.
Doc's response is like, "Figure to make it in style." It has to be like, "Oh, Doc
Funny.
is such an out of touch, old,
Yeah.
dumb
Yeah.
old man."
Well, that's
Yeah.
why we were talking about this on Movie Fights too, and like, what if you rebooted Back to the Future? Because my thing is like, obviously, please don't.
No.
I'm not.
Never.
saying
Well,
you
Zemeckis
should.
won't allow it. Yeah.
Right,
No.
but I'm saying like, if you did, you could play around
what
with
would the DeLorean
well,
be?
now like
Exactly.
55 is 80, 85 is now 2015 or whatever.
Right.
So I was saying a Mini Cooper would be
Oh,
our,
yeah.
or a PT
Or like a
Cruiser.
smart car.
A PT Cruiser would
Yeah.
be the 2017 DeLorean.
Yeah.
That's the dumb, ugly modern car you
Right,
build
right.
a time machine out of.
Which I don't want.
No.
I'm not saying they should.
No,
do
I
it.
know what you're
I'm
saying.
just saying,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
if
yeah.
you did it,
That's
it would
the
give you
equivalent.
it would give you a lot of like
Yeah.
questions like that
Exactly,
of like what's the
exactly.
modern context for X.
Exactly.
This just feels like a Resident Evil level.
It does.
gotta go down and collect
Oh
the
yeah,
pages.
and it's and the tracking shot of the door too.
Yeah.
Like in the old Resident Evil games, it's like every time you opened a door, there was like a slow animation of the door opening, and you're
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
oh god, what's gonna happen to me?
I'm not looking at the screen.
Go collect the pages. Ooh, flowers that'll give you health.
Like it is a fun like sort of mental challenge to be like, well, what would like the tab joke be? Like you went
Right.
back
Yeah.
to 1985 from today.
Right.
Like,
Right. Give me a Pepsi free. You want a
Like,
Pepsi?
Yeah.
you gotta pay for it. Like those
And
movies make
comedically,
zero context.
Exactly.
The Ronald Reagan joke would still stand as Donald Trump.
It would.
Go back to
That's the one
1985
thing, yeah.
and be like, President Donald Trump.
Well,
be
that's
like,
alternate 85.
billionaire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's alternate 85 from Back to
Yeah.
the Future 2.
It is.
So I hope someone's going back in time. Hey.
Well, there was that really great Photoshop where it was a real photo of Trump like getting out of a helicopter, so like his jacket's blowing open, and somebody just photoshopped
The
Gray's,
almanac?
Yes,
Gray's
yes,
sports
yes.
almanac in the pocket.
Totally,
in there.
so true, so true.
Oh god.
One of my favorite moments from the first movie is this sequence where he runs into the little moviola.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh dang.
Like they peeled him.
I
They just
know.
completely peeled that hillbilly.
But it's like also, but you're
But
also sort of like
overalls.
"Ooh,
They took the skin but left
Around
the
the corner.
overalls.
But you're also sort of like, why? Because everybody else that gets killed becomes a deadite, and I don't know why. Like
They were just
Henrietta was just like,
hungry.
I gotta eat him.
Peckish, a bit peckish.
I also wouldn't do well as Ash generally, but especially with the rats. I'd be like, I'm not going down there.
Yeah.
No, I just reacted to the rats very strongly.
There's rats in there. There's no rats.
I used to work at a grocery store, and we occasionally had rat issues.
Ugh.
And I was always just like, and one time we're pulling out a pallet, I cut the pallet open, and I'm taking stuff off, and I had to step in the pallet to pick up one thing, and I look up, and there's a rat right here. And I was just like,
You've been like, we need storage room cats immediately.
I gotta go.
help.
Why do you think I have cats at my house? Like, I own 2 cats because I just don't. Nope. Rodents. Goodbye.
Yeah, no time for it.
Ooh.
That is one of those things. Like anytime I'm on steps like that where they're like go through, I think about that.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
I know.
There.
Yeah, that is definitely one of those images that stays with you.
Yeah.
Just keep reading, Annie. Just keep reading.
Never think.
Always a good idea,
Oh,
right?
no.
Always a good idea. Boo.
No, wide-eyed running towards the
Oh!
door.
Yep. Oh, that fat suit.
I know. It's so. This is also the era where if you're an actor wearing a costume, you might lose 30 pounds after
Right.
doing
Yeah,
the movie.
that's true.
Michael Keaton famously lost a bunch of weight doing the 2 Batman films.
Yeah, because that suit was full.
60 pounds.
Yeah.
Is like,
He couldn't turn his head.
And
yeah.
I didn't think about recently, like, he couldn't hear either because he
No.
had giant rubber over his
Yeah.
ears. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh my God, what a nightmare. If you suffer from claustrophobia at all,
Right?
You could not be Batman in the Tim Burton films.
I remember Christian Bale always talking about, he's like, that thing would give you a monstrous headache. And he's like, I just try to use it as like my motivation.
I'm so angry.
Oh, God. Can't imagine having a migraine every day.
shaking.
Yep. Here's some claymation. Yes.
I love it.
I miss this stuff.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, I don't know what horror movie you'd put it in
Yeah.
right now. Like, if there was a horror movie out today, what I
Yeah.
would put claymation in.
Well, now, yeah, they don't really do like creature feature horror movies
Yeah.
anymore. It's sort of not in vogue.
No, it's not.
If they ever get to a Beetlejuice 2, maybe
Now
we'll
it's
get
like-
a little bit
Yeah.
Now it's like, oh, that doll. The doll is scary.
Yeah.
Oh, this toy, this popular
Annabelle-
board game
Annabelle
is scary.
2. What a thing.
Annabelle 2, yeah.
They're making it. It's happening.
Okay, guys,
Yeah.
if you say so.
If you think this is its own franchise.
Yeah. I saw a web
the
video,
mist.
there. Love it.
and it was called like, "Is The Conjuring the greatest horror movie of all time?" It was like something like that, like as if that's the accepted.
Like a true
Right,
we're
right.
questioning the conventional wisdom that The Conjuring is the greatest horror movie of all time.
Yeah.
And I was like, gee, really? Is that?
I like that movie.
I mean,
but
it's fine. It's
Yes.
not a bad movie.
I actually like the second one more. I'm in the
They're
minority
both-
with that.
I like them both, but like the greatest ever?
Right.
Like, no.
Well, I think it's
not.
it's that whole thing we're talking about of like, modern audiences, they have a limit of how much they see.
Yeah.
It's like not the greatest of like
Yeah.
last year though.
Right.
Oh, yeah.
Like the
If someone were to
greatest
ask me what's the best
ever?
horror movie in the last 5 years, I think I might go It Follows.
Yeah, I mean,
Or
It
the
Follows.
Babadook.
It Follows is up there. Babadook is up there. I liked The Witch a lot.
Which I love The Witch.
What are some other goods? Oh, well, how long is Kill List is 2011, so I don't know if that one counts. Starry
That's also
Eyes.
great.
I really like Starry Eyes.
I love Starry Eyes.
So yeah, like there you go. I mean, The Conjuring is good, but come on.
Again, the ultimate chaos. I love this. Oh. Puppets and miniatures. Oh.
Yep. And those damn trees. Those trees will get you.
Yeah, is this the only movie where it really like I guess Sleepy Hollow? There's like an evil tree.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like are there a lot of evil
Yeah,
trees?
but I feel like
What's
there's
that
no-
William Friedkin movie?
But
With the
for-
Guardian?
Oh
Yeah.
yeah.
Where she's literally a tree?
You're right.
Spirit?
But for me, I feel like when I think of evil trees, I mean, aside from like obviously you think
Charlie
of like
Brown.
Well, Wizard of Oz.
Wizard of Oz.
Yeah.
But like for me, it's like in order Wizard of Oz and then Evil Dead.
And then Evil Dead, yeah.
And then Babes in Toyland, though they turn out to not be so
Oh, that's
evil.
right. Yeah. Sleepy Hollow's just got that really gross one. It's like that's where Christopher Walken like he's just,
Yeah.
birthed out of the tree.
And puts all the heads.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is also the era of like the hero in over his head with the ripped up shirt.
Yep.
With this Temple of Doom, Die Hard.
Yeah.
Yep.
I love that. The white hair.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't look at it, Marion.
I know.
Uh-oh.
Her death,
Gotta watch
too.
out for that Kandarian
I
dagger.
love this. Ah. Yeah, I remember that for me was like huge when Lucy Lawless showed up in Ash vs. Evil Dead with the dagger.
With the dagger, yeah.
I was like, oh no!
Yeah. Yup.
I also do think about the Evil Dead series. I do highly enjoy the like, oh, he's screwed endings.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's not like the Carrie. I mean, the first one kind of is, but like after that, it's not like the Carrie. A hand pops out, or like there's
No,
the last
no,
thing.
yeah.
You really start the next adventure
Yeah.
at the
Yep.
end of the previous adventure.
It's just so bizarre.
Oh.
These effects of these creatures.
It's so strange. Just purple eye blood.
Oh, that's how they drew the Ash in the book.
Oh, there you go. See, that makes sense. Now we see that blood was a lot of different colors
Green.
in ages long past. And also currently, if you are a Kandarian demon. There you go. See, that's about the color
Nice
that
color.
Ash's
Yeah,
shirt
you got
was
some blue,
in the
some blue.
Necronomicon.
I'll buy it.
Yeah. Makes perfect sense. Uh-oh. I like that just everything is getting pulled into
Yeah.
this time portal.
Yeah. So they just put on a fog machine and then fans in the
Yeah.
other
Yeah,
room.
exactly. Yeah. They're like, well, whatever gets blown in that general direction is fine. And I like that clearly, like, somebody's just, like, holding Bruce Campbell's leg.
Yeah, right off frame. And here we go.
Immediately you don't see his feet. So.
And then this like moment, I've always thought this was interesting, like this like weird melancholy music that plays as he
Yeah.
goes flying into this vortex.
Yeah.
And this 2001 Space
Yep.
Odyssey sequence.
Yep.
Yeah, this music.
Because he's like doomed to be flung around time and space forever. You know?
Yeah.
It's a tragedy.
Really? Yeah.
He thought he was going to
Yeah,
get
Evil
to
Dead
go.
really is
you
just a
know,
tragedy.
It is. It's a. He's on some level a tragic figure.
Yeah.
Yep.
He is.
And just covered in crap.
Yep. Yes.
I'm just imagining it's 1986. You're a fan of the first Evil Dead. You come in and see this. This is
I
the
know.
ending. You must be like,
You're like, what the F?
But also, like, it's so you. Even today, like people who make indie films on their own, like don't
yes.
wouldn't do this. Like you'd stay more
Right.
true to people. Would be like, what was the
This
hell
was
with that
such a
final
bold
bit?
choice for an ending.
Yeah, like
well, the rumor, and I don't know. I mean, they've talked about like originally their original idea was like Evil Dead 2 was gonna be what Army of Darkness became.
Right.
It was like in the past, and then they were like, oh well, we don't have the budget to do that, so let's sort of remake the first one again.
right, but then
Right.
set it up.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, they do very intentionally set it up in the film. It's not like this came out of nowhere.
No, they knew they wanted this to become
Yeah.
another movie. But
Yeah.
And I will say, I do love Army of Darkness. I do wish it was titled Medieval Dead.
Medieval
Which
Dead.
was the original
yes.
title.
Oh, that was the original title?
Yeah.
Medieval Dead.
No.
Yep.
It's so funny. And
Yep.
also, it's like, they're not the same, but you watch this and I'm like, why did Bruce Campbell kind of like get stuck in like, bit parts in the 90s? But then Jim Carrey's career like took off. Huge.
Yeah.
I'm like, you watch this, I'm like, man, if this movie had come out 4 years later,
Would've
he
been-
could have been
yeah.
like a Jim
That's
Carrey type.
definitely
But
true.
he was kids. Ace Ventura, kids loved Ace Ventura.
Yeah,
True.
yeah. You couldn't target the kid demographic.
Yeah,
with
not
Evil
with,
Dead.
Yeah.
this is too crazy for kids.
Yeah.
I mean, if you had put Bruce Campbell in those kind of roles, I think for sure.
Oh yeah.
But like, yeah, I mean, I was pretty young for Ace Ventura, and I was like obsessed with it.
Yeah.
I was 8, 7? I was 7.
Yeah, I was like
Yeah.
13 or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. So guys, that's Evil Dead 2.
That's Evil Dead too.
Yeah, hopefully you've
Dead by Dawn.
Let us know in the comments which Evil Dead is your favorite. Are you watching the show? What do you think of the show? Have you read the comics? Actually, I've read some of the comics. There was a
I have not.
yeah,
I have
Army of
not read
Darkness
any of
versus
them.
Marvel Zombies, where they put Ash in the Marvel Zombies
Sure.
verse.
Yeah,
and
wow.
it was very silly. I think Kirkman might have written.
Theodore
Theodore.
Raimi.
Theodore.
Oh my god.
Theodore.
That is adorable. Yeah, Ted Raimi was like, he was a kid when
Who's
they made
Ted
the first
Ra- oh,
movie.
you mean Theodore.
Yes, Theodore.
Theodore
Theodore
Raimi.
Raimi. I did not realize that was what
I
he was
understand.
credited as.
That's too funny.
That's amazing.
Oh, that's fantastic.
But yeah, guys, and if you, man, oh god, I just want to go watch Army of Darkness now.
Yeah, I
Like,
know.
That's the thing about these films. It's like, and that's the funny thing too. You can watch all 3 Evil Dead films in the time it would take you to watch one of the Lord of the Rings extended
Yep,
cut
that's
films.
true.
Yeah.
You can get the entire Ash story of cinema. So let me ask this, because we do have the TV series, would you guys want to see a 4th film, or are you good with the TV series being...
The TV series is so brilliant.
Yeah.
I mean, if it ever came to a point of like the TV series didn't get renewed for another season for them to wrap up the story, then of course I'd want to see a 4th film because I want to see a conclusion to that story, but I wouldn't want there to be a 4th film that existed independently of the TV series because
Right.
the series is so good.
It does a disservice to the series.
I
Yeah.
like the idea of taking the rebooted movie, and if they were going to do more of those,
Sure,
and then
sure.
at
Yeah.
some point in the
They kinda
future,
converge.
bringing them together, I think that would be the way to do it.
Yeah.
Like, do one more movie with the younger cast,
yeah.
or just her
see
story,
that.
and then have her join Ash versus Evil
Yeah,
Dead.
totally.
To me, that
I
would be the way
agree.
to do it.
Well, yeah, but guys, thank you so much for joining us. Guys, thank you for being our guests on this.
Oh yeah,
Wonderful.
thanks
So
man.
much fun. Adam, what do you want to hit them with?
I just want to remind you guys that we are doing the Patreon. It's live now. There's a link in the description below. It's just patreon.com/hyperrpg. One of the things that we're going to be doing is this show is actually going to be becoming a part of the Patreon experience. So we partnered up with Rift.tv. What we're going to do is every single week when we do these, we will send you guys a link prior to the show happening. You'll be able to join us live. So you'll be able to join myself, Cameron, Elizabeth, Whitney, whatever other guests we bring on here.
Yeah.
So make sure you go to the Patreon, you check out the tier that's in, and if you want to join this live every single week, this is kind of what it's going to turn into. And it's a lot of fun. There's a whole lot of other stuff on the Patreon as well. So you should definitely check it out.
Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. And guys, make sure you follow Emma on Twitter for sure. She's here every Friday. Make sure you follow Lon on Twitter and his work over at Screen Junkies. And as for us, we're here all the time.
We're always here.
You know
We
how
live
to do
here
this.
almost.
I think that's the wrap up.
Yep.
All right, guys, thank you so much. Let us know in the comments which Evil Dead you like, and we will be letting you know soon which movies we're going to be watching on this commentary track. Have a good one.